Hi everyone and welcome to Season 12, Episode 3 of From Hope to Glory at Truro City with me, the United City FM. So, 12 games into the season, we're sitting in 12th position, but not on 12 points. On 15 points, which was utterly magnificent in every way. We are ahead of schedule, doing really well. Today we get 6th place Newcastle United. Let's see if we can keep going. So, welcome back to Truro City. Indeed, it's going pretty well. We will investigate that in a second. But just to confirm with you, for those observant, will notice that I'm using a brand new skin for the game. I've been using the TCS skin for Football Manager 21 up until this point. And now a new version has been released. It's now the TCS3 skin. And that's the one that I've updated to. I'm still getting the hang of it. I haven't seen every page on it so far. There are one or two little bits that I think are missing a little bit. For example, just in this top hand corner, I normally put my next half a dozen games coming up so I can plan my route through them a little bit, and that option isn't available to me. But other than that, it's pretty magnificent. This group of drop down menu sort of icons here, it's not really a drop down menu. If you switch on them, half of these change to other things, and there's an awful lot you can find on these pages these days. And I think that's pretty spectacular. It's all very clean, very nicely done. I'm quite impressed so far. In terms of if we go into the team squad, you'll see not a lot has changed. But if we go and pick a player to look at, let's go into Gonzalez, my central defensive midfield player. This is now what his page looks like. I've made this how I want it to be by changing some of these little panel options as to what's being shown. Again, this might not be how it ultimately finishes off looking on my version of it, but again, you've got lots of different options you can change to various different bits of information, and it's all laid out pretty well, I would suggest. All in all, the only thing I've gone in and changed, which I always change, are the attribute number colours. I always put green 15 and above, orange what's that, about 12 and above, and then 9 and above is red, and then the rest is grey, just because it's inconsequential, really. It's my traffic light system for doing bad, average and good attribute colours. So that's all done. I quite like it. As I say, I'm still getting used to it. There's a lot going on in the match day screen. We'll have a look at that in a second. But other than that, it's all pretty cool so far. So none of that changes what's happening at Truro City, though. Just thought I'd introduce that to you. And just if you're interested, if I remember, there'll be a link in the description below to go to that page and be able to download the skin for yourself. In terms of what's happening at Truro, we are doing pretty well. You can see here in the league table, we're sitting 12th after 12 matches, 15 points. So we're ahead of our every match trying to get a point out of it, basically. 38 points should see us to safety, and that's our main focus for the season. But ultimately, we're doing a little bit better than that so far. Ahead of schedule and looking pretty good, I would say. And there's two things that have helped us in the most recent times. And the first off is keeping our number one striker fit. Abu Bakar, 6 goals in about 11 fixtures, something like that. Not too bad at all. It's propelling us forward. The other, we'll go and look in on the schedule page and see what other teams have done to help us. So those that were with me last episode will know that we got roundly beaten by Leicester City 3-0. Very disappointing against a very good team, but we just didn't show up at all. Nobody played well, and we really struggled. But immediately after that, we kind of did the same thing to Southampton, and this is what I'm talking about. Other teams have helped us out in the last couple of matches, specifically this Southampton match. They got a player sent off at 52 minutes. If we go a couple of matches forward into the Carabao Cup 4th round against Cardiff, they also did us a favour. They got a player sent off in 51 minutes. So those couple of sendings off really helped us to get a good couple of wins under our belt in this last little set of fixtures. One of them in the Cup to go through. Now we play Newcastle. Today's opponent in the league, we play Newcastle in the Carabao Cup quarter-final in the middle of December. So we'll see whether we are likely to get a result from that as we play them today. In and around this set of fixtures, though, you can see that we do remain inconsistent. Arsenal beat us, but only very narrowly, 3-2. They're struggling a little bit this season themselves. And they did beat us, but we did play quite well, and I was a little bit disappointed to come away with a defeat. We had a 1-1 draw against Leeds. I would have liked a little bit more from that particular match, but beggars can't be choosers. So sandwiching those Leicester losses and Arsenal losses in between times, we've done pretty well in the last month of football, and that's put us up to 12, which was fantastic. A good set of fixtures coming up between now and the end of the calendar year. We've got Man United coming up on the horizon, Liverpool in there as well. But other than that, a couple of winnable matches in there. Today, Newcastle United sitting in 6th. I don't know how good they're going to be. This will be an interesting game. So let's hear how we get on. So in terms of personnel and team selection for today's match, there have been some interesting changes. We've got a couple of issues. Benamor and Dudita are both coming back from injuries, so they won't be available for today. I could put them on the bench. I just don't want to risk them particularly. They'll be important for us coming up in the next month or so of football, so they're out of the options for today. Other than that, everybody else you can see is pretty fit and healthy. We've rotated the side here and there, given most people some game minutes, which is positive. And there have also been a couple of changes to our first team 11 in recent matches as well. Up until this point, Mavropanos, who is one that we brought into the club this season as a bit of an experienced option, he's 33 years old, has been playing quite a lot of games for us. He's played 8 so far. And done pretty well for us. But in the last couple of games, if we look at his attributes here and just make a mental note of them, in the last few games, it's been very notable that our young player from Inter Milan, Colombini, has been improving a lot. He's been on loan with us for a season and a bit now. And now you can see that he's really ready for first team football and is pretty much the strongest central defender that we have. 17 tackling, 14 marking, 15 heading, determination of 17, strength of 16, pace of 16. There's a really good central defender in here. And if I can, I'm going to try and keep him under the radar just a little bit and see if we can nab him from Inter Milan on a permanent deal. He's valued only at 1.4 million at the moment, so there is a possibility there. Anyway, we'll check that out for another day, but his last 5 matches against varying opponents have been very good. And so Colombini now comes in as my first team option, really, on the left-hand side of my pairing in central defence. Both Colombini and Mavropanos, I think, are both left-footers, which is why we play them that side. And so Colombini plays today. The other one that's changed is Thompson has come in for Morrison in the attacking midfield role, just because Thompson has been playing very, very well. If we look at his most recent few fixtures, we'll go in and see that the last couple of matches haven't been great, but he got a 10 average rating a couple of matches ago. He's got 4 goals in 8 games and is looking pretty decent. So just at the moment, Thompson takes that central attacking midfield spot. Doesn't mean that Morrison, should I say, can't get it back. And the reason that I mentioned Henderson is because he is putting pressure behind Abu Bakar. Abu Bakar has got half a dozen goals in about 10 fixtures, something like that. And Henderson has got about 4 in 5 as a backup, playing some of the lesser teams in the division, must be said. But his average rating is very positive and he's playing very well. So he is putting pressure on Abu Bakar. And ultimately, all of that is really positive to how we're moving the team forward, which is fantastic to see. So for today's match against Newcastle in the Premier League, 6th place Newcastle, we play Wendell in goal, Williams at right back, Fenn at left back, Baptiste and Colombini in central defence, Gonzalez, Goodwin and Thompson in central midfield, White on the right, Izvikov on the left and Abu Bakar up top, and a bench of Mavropanos, Fink, Kane, Morrison, Wright Phillips, Sarmiento and Henderson. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So I've gone with the hands in the pockets gesture, but I have actually put a little bit of pressure on them to go out there and impress me. I haven't asked them to go and win or anything like that. Just go out there and compete and be as hard to beat as you possibly can is kind of the thought I had behind that particular team talk. We'll see if we're able to do it. I mean, we are at home today, which is positive. Again, I do like the choice of font and all sorts of other small details with this new version of the skin. I think it's all very clear and easy to read, so keep an eye on that. And as we come out, there won't be too much difference in much of the presentation of the actual match footage itself. But here is the difference, and it's something that I'm not 100% sure about exactly how I want to use this yet. I will think about that a little bit between episodes, but there's a lot of panels now there with a lot of information. I've just got to jig that about a little bit. I haven't really had the chance to do that yet. But it's a little bit, there's a lot in there at the moment just to pay attention to, but I will lay that out better in coming episodes. But for now, let's focus on this particular match against Newcastle United. You can see that we've kept the ball very nicely in that particular little bit of play. Isvikov cutting in off that left-hand side, through on goal and then blast the ball just slightly narrow, but we do pretty well. You can see some of the info doesn't quite fit on the panels that I've got set up so far. I will have to change all of that around. But what happened there? That was a late reaction, it seemed, by the players and the bar at the bottom. I thought it had missed the goal and gone behind the goal, if I'm totally honest. But it hadn't. It's Williams on this right-hand side, cuts it in for White, cutting in off the right, and then right-footed batters that post, but the ball goes in the net. Off that post, and it caught me by surprise totally, and we go 1-0 up. As long as there's no issues here, they're checking whether the ball went over the line using the goal line technology in off the frame, and it does go in, and we do take a 1-0 lead, and that is pretty spectacular so far. So what can we see of these? The visualizer is pretty decent. We've got a league table. We've got the Truro formation. I'd prefer it vertical rather than horizontal, I think, which is a little bit of a shame. I don't know whether I can make those tabs any bigger, but we'll have to check all of that out in between episodes, as I say. But it's worth just paying attention to what they're offering us. This one here, the player stats for us, doesn't seem to have a lot of information on it, unfortunately. But here we go for Newcastle United, straight over the top, very direct. They're through on goal and they put it away very comfortably. It was a decent goal, if not a little bit route one, which I wouldn't have necessarily expected from them. Did he stay onside? I think he did, to be honest. And I think, unfortunately, always the way, absolutely always the way, I picked out Colombini to talk about at the start of the game, and he was on his heels a little bit, let his attacker go, and it was he that put the ball in the back of the net, unfortunately. It's always the way. I should never mention any player ever by name for any reason in this in these games at all, and then we might be fine. But here we go, back building our own attack. Isvikov again cutting in off that left-hand side, again having another side-track goal, but this time going over the top of the bar. We're doing pretty well, though. We are competing. 4 shots at goal, 2 on target, 6 and 2, I think it was for them. So we're in there so far. But a little bit of quality here and there from Newcastle is going to put us to the sword if we're not careful. On that occasion, Wendell just about covered his near post and put the ball round for a corner kick. And it is a Newcastle corner, comes into the penalty box. We do get it cleared. Are we going to win the loose ball? We're not going to win the loose ball. And ultimately that highlight goes. But we're doing pretty well, I would say, so far. I'm happy with how we're looking after just about half an hour of play. If we can get 1 or 2 sighters at goal, and here's a good chance off a free kick just outside the area. White on the ball, and he puts it in the back of the net with an absolute stunner of a free kick. And it's his day totally so far, isn't it? White on that right-hand side for us. The American showing up for Truro City. And that is a lovely strike at goal from the free kick just outside the penalty box. We do go 2-1 up, just coming up towards half-time. We've got 10 minutes to go of this first half. What can we learn around what we've got? Two goals for us, 1 goal for them. There's a whole bunch of shots that each of us have had. So we've had a couple that potentially should have been more on target than they were. Newcastle skip past the challenge, get down the right-hand side, put it in the box. We stop them for a moment, and then it goes in again, and the goalkeeper has to rescue us. So there's some tricky moments here, but overall, we are competing pretty well and doing okay. Williams puts the ball into the centre of midfield. Goodwin takes over. Gonzalez through to Thompson. Turns, has a go. I thought he was going to have a go at goal himself. He doesn't. He tried to poke the ball through for Izvikov. It gets blocked by a defender, but falls into the path of the oncoming left winger as anyway. And he puts it in the back of the net for 3-1 up. Thompson with a good drive here. I thought he was going to shoot. He really tried to put Izvikov through. There's a little confusion in the defensive line for Newcastle. Eventually, the ball ricochets into the path of Izvikov anyway. And he slots it home. And we are 3-1 up and just about coming to the end of the first half. There is the final whistle for the first half. And that is pretty spectacular, to be honest. And this occasionally is what my Truro City side can now do. With most of our first team players out there, we do look reasonably good. I'm not saying at this point that we are definitely going to stay up. I think there's too long of the season left for us to make those sort of claims just at the moment. But at the moment, we're looking pretty good for it. 7 shots at goal, 4 on target, 3 goals from it. 11 and 9 for you, Newcastle United, 1 goal from theirs. They've got a better XG rating. The percentage of possession is in our favour. There's a lot more info on this particular screen sitting just behind my face cam, unfortunately. So it's just going to take me a little bit of getting used to it where everything is. But ultimately, what we can know for certain is that my Truro City side are doing fantastically well. So are we going to go outstretched arms or pump the fist? If we go pump the fist, I think it intends to continue to encourage and push them forward. So we're going to pump the fists and we're going to say things are going well, but I know you're capable of even better. Even if they're not, even if this is the height of what they can achieve, just keep them motivated to keep moving forward is the plan. And we'll see what happens as we move into this second half. Not going to disrupt anything else in this second half. I am going to have to figure out these panels, but other than that, if anybody else is using this skin down in the comments below, let me know. Let me know what you've made of it. Let me know what you like about it, what you don't like about it, all that kind of good stuff. That would be great to hear. And during my Twitch streams, which is every weekday over on twitch.tv/the United City FM, we'll be looking at the skin in a little bit more detail as well. So come and join us over there every weekday, UK time of 3 till 5 p.m. on Twitch. I'll try and be there. And we've scored another goal. 10 minutes into this second half, they have not had a player sent off or any other issues that teams have created for themselves in the last few weeks of games that we've had. On this occasion, we've just absolutely shown up. I think that was another spectacular strike, to be honest. Abu Bakar manages to get ahead of that last defender, held his run really well, threw on goal, 4-1 up. Nicely done. We've got to see this game out now and not cause ourselves any issues at all. And it's a Newcastle counter-attack. We had a sweeping free kick that went in. They defended it very nicely. They've countered very quickly, got it down to the left-hand side of the box, dropped it to the top of the box. Then they had their shot at goal, but it goes narrowly wide. Wendell was down. I think he mostly had his far post covered, but they missed the opportunity on that occasion. We're approaching the 70th minute mark, and around there we'll make a couple of changes just to freshen up the legs on the pitch a little bit, because they've worked so hard in this game to get us to where we currently are. And it's Newcastle again. Space has opened up for them again. Wendell, the giant goalkeeper, 6'8", gets down at his near post and parries it for a corner kick. Corner comes in and it goes wide of the goal for a corner kick. And it is our opportunity there to pause the game momentarily, go into the tactics and make those couple of changes and just get some fresh legs on here, really. But everybody's playing pretty well. I say everybody. Fenn at left fullback and Thompson, who, again, we talked about before the start of the game, not playing so well today. So fortunately for Fen, Ben Moore is not on the bench, so we're going to leave him on with the fact that we're so far up at the moment. But we are going to take Thompson out, put Morrison in. We're also going to take Abu Bakar out for that yellow card primarily. Don't want to cause a problem. And Henderson, as we've seen, has been playing pretty well for us. And then we're going to take one more out. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to put somebody in central midfield that can just freshen that up a little bit. So we're going to take Gonzalez out and put Herbie Kane in that defensive midfield role, just to hopefully get a little bit of freshness and energy in that particular part of the pitch, just for the last 15 or 20 minutes of this match. We should be able to see this one out. As long as we keep our composure, then there shouldn't be a problem here. We've got a 3-goal advantage with 15 minutes to play, and we'll just see whether it can be very chilled out, no issues, no problems, and take these 3 points. But it is Newcastle on the break down this right-hand side into the box, into the 6-yard box, and unfortunately we do have a little bit of an issue there. We had a chance to clear the ball, didn't quite manage it. This was a good move. They got to the byline. Instead of crossing it at that point, it just dinks the ball in. And it's that point there. I think Williams didn't quite get his feet right, couldn't quite clear the ball, and eventually fell in the path of a Newcastle striker. And in the 6-yard box, he blasts it home for a 4-2 lead. And again, with 10 minutes to go, we've given the ball back to Newcastle. Please don't do this to us. If they get another goal here with 10 minutes to go, and they didn't, again, the goalkeeper saves us. But that would have been a real problem because the momentum has completely shifted. So here they come with the corner kick. We're going to just ask for focus, I think, for the last few minutes of the match. Got to keep this lead as much intact as we can. Izvikov trying his best down the left-hand side, gets inside the box and then sweeps a left-footed shot into the side netting, really. Didn't quite challenge the goalkeeper on that occasion. And here we go. With 5 minutes left, we've got our 2-goal advantage now. They've had more shots than us. They've got a better XG than us, but we have more goals than them. And as long as we can keep this tight just for a couple more minutes, I think we're going to be okay. And it's our attack down the left-hand side. Back to Goodwin from Fen. Goodwin drifts in slightly, sweeps it across to Williams on the far side. White takes over. Playing keep ball between those two very nicely. Morrison comes and gets involved as well. That's really good work, keeping the ball very nicely. They've switched it again, Izvikov, and there is our absolute hat-trick superstar hero of today. White on that far side has been absolutely fantastic. They kept the ball brilliantly through that period of play, swept it back across to the near side. Izvikov puts a brilliant cross in, and on the header on the far post, back across the goalkeeper into this near post corner. And we go 5-2 up with seconds now left to play. And the final whistle goes, and that is a magnificent victory against 6th place Newcastle in the Premier League. Wow, I was not expecting that sort of result, if I'm totally honest. But William White got 3. Izvikov supported him with 1. I can't remember off the top of my head who the other one. Abu Bakar, of course, got the 5th one. And we played magnificently well. Now, on this particular page, what can we see that's any different? We've got the report, we've got the analysis here, we've got focus of attacks. You can see that we've done pretty well everywhere, really. The only thing that I really would change, if I could, we can potentially move it to a vertical. That's what I needed to change. Yep, nope. That hasn't done what I wanted it to do. What I want is I want the team to be vertical in terms of goalkeeper at the bottom, striker at the top, rather than going across. I'll have to play about with some of these and see exactly what we can do here, but there's an awful lot of options to play about with. Anyway, the skin's very good. The performance was absolutely even better, and I am so delighted with how this particular one went. We got a lovely 5-2 win and took the 3 points. So, after a pretty spectacular win, it must be said, Truro City find ourselves now in 8th position in the Premier League after 13 matches on 18 points, ahead of our schedule of a point for every match that we play to try and get up to 38 points. Remember, this is only our second season in the Premier League, and last season, in the very last 2 or 3 games of last season, we just about managed to save ourselves from relegation. So this is going particularly well so far. 5 matches won, 3 drawn, 5 losses. I'd like a little bit better goal difference if we possibly could. 28 scored, 24 conceded. If we can just open that gap up slightly in our favour, that would be great. But other than that, I think this is going spectacularly well. So if we pop into the schedule and just go and check out what we've got coming up, what we'll see is we've got December coming up, and we'll play the last game in December against Sheffield United at home in the Premier League, just before we go into that January transfer window. So that's going to be next episode. Between now and then, Man United, West Ham, Liverpool, Villa, Newcastle again in the Carabao Cup. They're going to come and want the revenge, aren't they, for what we've just done to them. And on that occasion, it's not at our place, it's at their place. So that's going to be interesting. That's followed up by a game against Brentford in the Premier League. And then we come back for that episode game against Sheffield United. So that's what we've got coming up. What we've had is an utterly brilliant performance in every way today, and things are going very well. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this particular episode. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode. That will help me get seen by lots more people. Until next time though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.